if we don't have anything to do, then we pretend to be doing something.
When I think back to my time as a junior, you did not walk down the main corridor if you wanted to leave before 9 p.m. You took the fire escape.
We just work smarter and are more efficient. Why would you put in hours to something when you could just do it 10 times quicker?
If you're curious about how to actually use AI in your day-to-day work as a lawyer, not just to keep up with the tech, but to make your practice more efficient, cut down admin time, and open up new opportunities, then you're going to want to join me at the AI Skills Summit for Lawyers. We're bringing in experts to run live sessions that will give you practical steps on how to use AI in your work. And for the first time ever, I'm revealing how I leverage AI to turn legal expertise into influence and authority on LinkedIn in a special session. But here's the important part. If you're already on the wait list, this does not secure your spot. You'll have to pre-register, and only those who do will get free access. So if you want to save hours in your week, work smarter, and stay ahead of the curve, take 60 seconds and pre-register right now. The link is in the show notes of this episode. In this conversation, we're sitting down with Natalie Thomas, legal business analyst at Perkins Coie. She went from studying at Oxford University to working in Tesco in southwest Wales, to then being part of the founding team helping launch the London office of the US law firm Perkins Coie. We talk about how GenZ can help drive law firm growth, challenge traditions, and question inefficiency to shape a better, smarter, more sustainable legal industry. So, Natalie, I'm literally desperate to get your thoughts on this because on the podcast, we've been speaking to a lot of managing partners who are obviously in I would say the baby boomer generation, I would say mainly. And they're all like baffled with the whole Gen Z thing and, oh, how's Gen Z going to be when they, come up into more senior positions. But I know at Perkins Coie it's slightly different because you're more open to letting people have more responsibility. This is what I hear anyway from speaking to you guys. But I'd love to hear from your perspective how you think Gen Z thinks differently within law, because some people say, oh, Gen Z are lazy and they want to find like the quickest ways of doing things. But on the other hand, other Gen Z people want to do more entrepreneurial things and upskill and get more of a skill set and do things on the side, like side hustles and stuff. So what's your experience?
Yeah, that's like a super pet peeve of mine is when people slag off Gen Z. Like it really gets to me because I don't see it that way at all. I think we just work smarter and are more efficient. And why would you put in hours to something when you could just do it 10 times quicker? I don't think I think someone said before, like the culture kind of back in the day was you have to like be visibly in the office and like acting busy, and you like leave your coat on the chair even though if you went there, so like your boss would think you're in the office, and that's not to say that we're not in the office like working really hard, because we are. I just don't think we have that mindset. Yeah, I guess because that is quite toxic really. If you're not busy, like why are you pretending? But I still think we work really, really hard. We just might find more creative solutions, and also from my experience we're a lot more collaborative. We share ideas more. And again, I don't know if that's just because the culture's a little bit different nowadays. Yeah, with tech and collaboration, I think we're just a lot more efficient. I was really worried about this, like coming into law, just because obviously the legal profession is kind of known for being quite stuffy, hierarchical, and I've never really been in that kind of environment before, so I was really nervous coming into it. But honestly, like that just hasn't really been my experience. And this isn't like a marketing spiel for the firm or anything, like it's actually genuine. It's a lot flatter than I would have initially thought. And I just feel like there's a lot of learning and an exchanging of learning there. So for instance, like just a lot of reverse mentoring. So a lot of the more senior partners, for instance, are just like constantly wowed by, we think from a Gen Z perspective, of quite like easy, simple, technical stuff. Like I remember I made like a QR code once using a website, and they were like bamboozled. Like, oh my god, that's just so amazing. But yeah, and other things like that. I think they really appreciate the kind of technical savvy skills, and they're really good at uplifting the younger generation in that way. And then just from my perspective, learning, because obviously they've got that experience, learning how they deal with people with situations that they've gone through so many other times before. So it's just kind of like that learning. I've not really felt there's that huge hierarchy, and I just feel like super empowered.
I've wasted hours drafting contracts in my business. I've used clunky templates, even written from scratch, looked into paying lawyers. I've even tried ChatGPT, but it just didn't hit the mark. I knew there had to be a better way. And then I found this, Air Counsel, an AI contract drafter built by lawyers for lawyers. I spoke to the team at Air Counsel, and they use it for their own legal work, and they're improving it every single day based on real life feedback. It actually does the heavy lifting for you. It researches your jurisdiction's laws and nuances and picks up local drafting quirks and even matches your tone and style. It then builds a ready-to-edit Word document with hyperlinks, numbering and a table of contents. It's so quick. I was so impressed when I used it. What I love about it is you can ask it to draft any contract you like, and it will even give you suggestions for appropriate terms or clauses that you'd never even think of. If you're still spending hours drafting contracts the old way, you don't have to anymore. This changed everything for me. If you're a lawyer, business owner, service provider, it might just do the same for you. And Air Counsel have been kind enough to sponsor this episode, and I'm so excited to spread the word. It's the most sophisticated contract drafting software I've used. To get your free 7-day trial, just go to the description of this episode. Give it a go, and don't forget to let me know how it changes your workflow. And I think these skills are absolutely vital in law and within law firms. And I love the idea that, because like when I worked in law, I'm a millennial. When I worked in law, everyone around me was pretty much a millennial. And they all thought like, okay, if we don't have anything to do, then we pretend to be doing something because you gotta, I don't know, like what else do you do? But I love the idea that you think collaboratively and differently, smarter, think of innovative ways of doing different things. Where do you think that mentality, that mindset comes from?
Well, I mean, it's like through university, I guess we all had access to different tech and like ChatGPT and stuff. So we've kind of always grown up with having solutions in that sense. But I don't really know. I just think that maybe as millennials have gone up the kind of hierarchy, things are changing as well. Well, to be fair, that's not even true, because I was going to say maybe the millennials have seen the mistakes from before and they want to correct it. But even like the baby boomers, as you say, with all of their experience, like for instance, Ian, the managing partner of Perkins Coie, he's taken all of his experience, looking back retrospectively, and trying to change things from those past experiences. So I don't know, maybe it's just people are a lot more reflective, maybe since COVID as well. I don't know, I've never really stopped to properly think about it.
I guess I'm just a bit confused because when I think back to my time as a junior, I mean, you know, I would take the fire escape all the time. That was the thing you did. You did not walk down the main corridor if you wanted to leave before 9 p.m. Like, no, you took the fire escape. I would leave my coat on the chair. I was terrified of everything. Definitely, if somebody was more senior than me, I'd be terrified of them. I feel like a lot of people of my kind of cohort and generation were like that. And I guess I just wonder, how did that change? And has that changed for everyone?
Yeah, I'd say all of that. Like, so my role at the moment is a legal business analyst. We've kind of like made up the term, but it's super diverse. So you get some like legal, paralegal, junior trainee solicitor type work on the legal side, but then you also work on the business professional side, and that can be marketing, business development, finance, like client strategy. So it's really varied. It just teaches you to be a lot more agile, wear a lot of different hats. It's kind of like being an entrepreneur, because when you're starting out a business, like you've got to be all those people because you don't have the manpower. So that's really interesting. And then, yeah, as you say, working directly with the junior partners and just all partners, senior associates, and just everyone across the firm has been really useful and just really unique. And it's great because I would have never have saw this role for myself. So when I was at uni, I thought like the world was over because I didn't have a training contract at like a Magic Circle or a US firm. I didn't apply to anything, but still, I was like, oh, I forgot to apply. And I thought that was the only path you could do in order to be successful or to get into a legal career. It's just like really refreshing having this role and learning so much on the job. I'm really grateful for it.
Do you think Gen Z is the perfect generation to be helping push law firms forward in the future of law with all this in mind?
Yeah, 100%. Like for all the reasons that we've discussed, but also I just think like creating that open forum to actually get their input on things. So like before I had like all these preconceptions of law, like I said, the hierarchy and things like that, and kind of like be seen, be seen, not heard kind of thing. And I thought that's how it went. And then you just like went on and cracked on with like the kind of administrative things. But if you actually ask people and take the time to gather their feedback, I think that's just super useful. And like you said, yeah, because our generation, our generation has gone through quite a lot. Like COVID was quite tough and having to balance like university, navigating the first jobs. So we've got a lot of experience in that sense. And as we said before, the upskilling, it's kind of like hustle culture, like you said, like side hustles. Yeah, that obviously the tech capabilities. I just think it's the perfect generation. That's why I get so angry when people slag off Gen Z. I think it's probably the best generation. Full stop.
How would you say that leadership should be managing Gen Z?
I would say, like I said before, giving them the space to be honest with you as a leader and a manager. I think when people are too afraid to speak up about something, that just doesn't create the right culture, and then they probably won't stay there anyway. So creating that open forum with them, I've not really thought about it. I say that's like the main one.
I suppose just turning that back perhaps in a more personal way, then just thinking about, how do you like to be managed? How would someone get the most from you at your level if they were a senior leader or a leader?
Yeah, I think give me good instructions, but also give me the space to kind of do my own thing and also try and make a project my own. I hate when people micromanage, and to the point before with letting Gen Z kind of do its thing, because you might have a different solution to your boss, just letting them have that space to do that. So yeah, I'd say let the innovation come through that way. I'd say those are the two big ones.
And would you be able to tell us a bit more about your journey through law, Natalie?
Yeah, definitely. So I always kind of knew I wanted to go into law, but not enough to actually study it. So I studied history.
Yeah.
But I'm from like a very small town in Wales where I don't really know a lot of people. Well, I didn't know anyone that did law. And the people I knew that went to university they stayed quite local. And then one day I decided I wanted to apply to Oxford with the help of an organisation called Zero Gravity. And Zero Gravity like matches up low opportunity students with mentors from the university that they want to go to. And at the time it was just Oxford and Cambridge. So I had a mentor that went to Oxford and then got into Oxford. I just didn't really get the memo that you had to apply for like spring weeks or vacation schemes in the first or second year. And then all my friends kind of rocked up and had these vacation schemes. And then I just felt super behind. And then in my third year, I didn't bother applying for anything. I think one, because I was scared and I didn't want to get rejected in my final year. I just wanted to focus on my studies. So then I graduated Oxford with no job, went back to Wales, worked in Tesco. And I just felt kind of like flat, to be honest, because literally all of my friends that studied law got Magic Circle and top US training contracts on their first go. So I just felt kind of like a failure. Yeah, so I had to move back home. I thought, okay, I'll take a year out, figure out what I want to do, and maybe apply on this year. And then Zero Gravity contacted me about a position as a founder associate. And it's kind of like an LBA, really. You work with a founder on all of their kind of projects that they're working on. And the founder of Zero Gravity asked if I wanted to work with the chairman of Zero Gravity, who's called Ian Bagshaw. And he had his own advisory company after leaving White and Case as the global co-head of the private equity practice. I just took a chance. I was promised that I could go to Switzerland, so I was like, why not? It's better than staying here at Tesco. So then, I started working for Ian. It's supposed to be for like 6 months, then it turned into a year. And we worked on loads of different things, like advising startups, doing investor outreach for startups. And then one day he was like, oh, I want to go back into law. Started talking to Perkins Coie, and then I kind of transitioned to Perkins Coie with Ian. But we were there right at the start, like pitching ourselves basically to the firm to be the ones to build out the London office. So yeah, that was really cool. So always kind of interested in law, but my route into it wasn't exactly conventional. And yeah, now I'm here. And it was really nice. So in November, it was Thanksgiving, and in the office, we had this big Thanksgiving party, and we got to bring 2 people that have helped you get to where you are today. And I got to bring my parents and show them like the office and the views in London. And they came from Wales on like the 7-hour coach. And it was just really sweet. And I think at that point, when I could see them see everything, then I was like, oh, wow, this is really crazy. So that was really lovely. I think one of the most important things is having that network around you and the mentorship. So if you are from a background, like signing up to organizations like Zero Gravity is super important. Like I wouldn't have even, if I hadn't have gone to Oxford and if I hadn't have gone to Oxford, I would never have considered London for a start, because like all of my friends were from London. So I was like, oh, I might as well move to London. Not that you have to move to London, but and I would have never have gone into law if I didn't go to Oxford. And I wouldn't have gotten into Oxford if I didn't have my mentor. So I think it's just really important reaching out to people and not giving up and thinking of ways that you can, because there's so much online now as well. It's like there's the virtual internships, and I know it's like super competitive, but just doing all you can. Because I also think if you make it to an interview, it's really hard getting your foot in the door application wise, but when people from socially mobile backgrounds get into interviews and like let their personality shine and their passion shine, I think that's really important as well. And that's from experience with recruiting for our summer internship last year. People just shine more in those interviews. So I just, definitely don't give up. And like from your experience, Helen, sometimes it only takes one, but sometimes it's a numbers game or like multiple cycles. Don't give up with that. Definitely not.
Why do you think diversity will play a role in the future of law?
I think because people are beginning to recognize just how important it is to have diverse people in your team and how divergent thinking can really add to things. So, for instance, like clients want to see it number one, but also there's like an actual commercial imperative to hiring people from, say, low opportunity backgrounds. If you're like a young carer or you've worked multiple jobs through university or through school, I think that kind of like grit and determination is something that you're not going to get anywhere else either. I also think like socially, I think most low opportunity or people from low socioeconomic backgrounds, they've had to interact with a lot more diverse set of people like throughout their lives. I think that's really important. And I just hope to see more as like the millennials go up the food chain. I just hope to see more diverse people in positions of power.
If you're a legal tech founder still trying to grow your brand, the reality is this: someone with half your expertise is about to out-position you. And when they do, you don't just lose reach, you lose deals, investors, opportunities, and more. I'm opening exclusive free access to a blueprint I've never shared publicly. If you want to become law firm's go-to legal tech solution, you'll need to become the leading authority. I explain exactly how in my blueprint. Go to the description of this episode to get it sent straight to your inbox now.